Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Spiral Wave. Today we're going to talk about opening the body. This is really critical if we're going to be a little sincere, I don't want to use the word serious, but a little sincere about our practice of Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan. My Tai Chi teacher, Bob Engel, or Tai Chi Chuan teacher, as he would always insist it be called Chuan, which is the fist, because he always regarded Tai Chi as a martial art. Bob would always insist that we begin with loosening the joints. Another way of saying that would be warming up, but not warming up as in terms of an athletic pursuit, but just warming up in terms of opening the body. Adam Meisner, another Tai Chi Chuan teacher that you can find online, talks about transforming our body into being one of what he calls a Tai Chi creature. So this idea then, with amongst many Tai Chi teachers, that we're transforming our body. So the Tai Chi body or the Qigong body is very different than other bodies. A ballet dancer is training a whole different set of muscles and soft tissue to do the ballet. A heavy weight lifter is using a whole different parts of their body to be able to lift their weights. Nobody would confuse a weightlifter, a serious weightlifter, champion heavy weightlifter, with a ballet dancer, because they're working different sets of the body. And similarly with Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan, it takes a different kind of body training. And this is very neglected in Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan practice. We tend to want to get into the movements. Let's get moving and let's start doing the Qigong movements rather than setting the tone for what we're going to do. And I'm going to talk about it in a very specific way with you. But we're going to practice it in a very ordinary way. So let's talk about just loosening up the body first and opening the joints. And we're going to start with the shoulders because that's a great source of tension. So we're going to simply roll back the shoulders. So we roll the shoulders forward, up, towards our ears, back, and at the back of our body. Now, we don't want to force anything here. You know what's so funny is that people get into this competitive animal mindset that they've got to force it and they're already in competition with themselves. We're not doing any of that. We're just simply increasing the mobility. And if it takes us a year to increase that mobility, it takes us a year. And we're not in any hurry at all, but we are starting to make those movements. So as you can see, I'm just rolling forward here. Rolling my shoulders backwards. And I can feel quite a bit of tension. Why? Because I'm at the computer a lot of us are. Now I'm not going to be doing any forward rolling because we do enough of that. So we want to just come back here. Just come back. So my shoulders go up, back, I squeeze the shoulder blades together and I come down. But I can just take as much breathing as I want. And this is something that you can do during the day because we tend to be so forward posture oriented. We've talked about this a lot. With our head forward, our shoulders rolled forward, we want to be every opportunity we can to bring the shoulders back. Now, so far you're saying, well, big deal. What is this? This isn't too much Qigong. Well, here's where it gets different. Now, I would like you just to take a bit of your shoulder, feel your shoulder, and I want you to have the idea that I want you to get very interested in this shoulder and bring your mind into your shoulder. Just bring your mind into your shoulder. Now, when I talk about your mind, and I'll use the word mind because mind, body is a popular way of saying it, but I'm also talking about your awareness. And I'm also talking about your intention. So if you prefer intention or awareness, that's completely fine. That's what I'm talking about. Bring your awareness into this shoulder. And you may feel that as soon as you bring your awareness to it and you start to roll it, it has a different quality to it. So we want to bring that awareness into our shoulders. And already I can feel the difference immediately. Bring that mind into our shoulders. So that's the first thing. And when we do these opening exercises, that's the idea, is that in each part of the body that we're opening up, we want to bring our awareness into it. Now, it's going to be like a sponge. It's going to be absorbing our mind. Our mind is going to be soaking into the tissues because we want to find the spaces and fill those spaces eventually with energy. We're going to be moving energy through our body in later sessions. But for now, we're just soaking and finding those spaces. Now, a lot of people talk about opening the joints, which in fact I've talked about, which is very valid. We're just opening the joints so that we open up. Remember, we had that Hoberman sphere. We open up throughout the whole body. But also, I want you to now begin to get the idea that we're not only opening the joints, we're opening the tissues. Yes, the actual tissues. And we're finding the space in the joints and the space in the tissues. And by that, I mean the organs. Everywhere in the body, we're opening up and finding that space. And in order to find that space, we have to elasticate the body or open up the body in a way that's not too dissimilar from a yawn. When we yawn, our mind just doesn't pop open. Right? It doesn't pop open. It kind of stretches open because it's kind of almost like this elastic. There's almost like this resistance we're going towards. And that's what we're after in our tissues. So we're not flap. I mean, I could just do this, right? I mean, this is easy. But this is mindless rolling. And actually I have a lot of flexibility. But as soon as I start to bring my awareness into the shoulders, then there's a different quality. And now I want to take it away from the idea of the shoulders and into the shoulder blades, the scapula. And we're going to move from the shoulder blades themselves. I'm going to move from the shoulder blades. So just imagine the shoulder blades coming up, they come up, and then they come back. It's almost they come away from the back of that feeling and then come together, and then they just go down, slide down the back. Now, some people don't have a lot of mobility in their shoulder blades. Not everybody is easy and fluid here. So take it easy and just start to break up those adhesions without forcing. But just the idea now is you have your mind soaked into your shoulders, your awareness is there, and the shoulder blades are moving. Now, the difference that you will begin to feel here is that there will start to be a slight stretch, kind of an engagement. It can be slow, it can be fast. I just want you to get the feeling of it though. That awareness, your mind is no longer in your head, it's in the shoulders. And the shoulders are becoming much more elastic or elasticated or stretchy, bouncy. Now it looks the same as if I'm rolling from my shoulders or if I'm rolling from my scapula, from my shoulder blades, but it feels very different. The initiation is very different from where the movement is initiated from. And now when you've done that for a little while, sit the shoulders. Again, we don't want them rolling forward. We want them seated nicely. Good analogy is the old receivers used to be on these hooks, right? Way back when, perhaps you've seen a picture of it. And the receiver, the telephone receiver would be cradled in these two supports, these two rings like this, and boom. So that's the idea. It's badly explained, but it's the idea that our shoulders sit in their sockets, and sit relaxed down, and we just have that kind of feeling of ease. So that's the shoulders, and just be with that for a moment. It kind of feels very, very good when we do that, because we brought awareness to that area. Again, no forcing. Now the second area that we want to open is the waist. Now in Tai Chi Chuan, the waist, there's a lot of definitions of the waist. You think that that would be easy, right? The waist. But when we talk about it for this purpose, we're talking about the area between the lower ribs and the pelvis. This whole area, but the whole band going all the way across between the lower ribs and the pelvis, this whole area. And we really want to have that flexible and stretched. Now, when we do the standing meditation, which I've been talking about, this will be a key thing. This area, sometimes called the Yao, Y-A-O, Yao, this needs to be stretched in our movements and when we do the standing meditation. I'll talk much more about that when we get there. But this area between the lower ribs and the pelvis needs to be stretched. So we can start by starting in the side here, just opening up this area, the lower ribs and the pelvis. You don't have to touch it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to come, open that up, come around, forward, feel that open up. Now I'm coming the other side. This right side now is opening up. Now I'm coming to the front. Now the front is opening up. Now to the side again. Side is opening up. Back is opening up. Side is opening up. Now, as I do this, it will look like I'm actually moving my hip joints, or rather just doing a hip roll. But I'm not. I'm just bringing this area here into focus, which is so important for our Tai Chi and our Qigong practice. So again, open up the front here, between the rope. Now open up the side again. And again, be very gentle. If you haven't done this, it can actually be quite demanding. And of course, we want to go the other way. Open up. Around. Open up. Stretch that out between the lower ribs and the pelvis. The other way. Now, remember, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're soaking our body with our mind. We want our awareness to go into this area. Hopefully you can see it easily enough. Just around this area here. So again, well, we'll go the other way. Open up. Just really feel that stretch. Again, if I don't have the stretch, I can hurt my back here. But the stretch just keeps it engaged. Now I've got it here. You really want to feel that your awareness is moving. And there's a little, interestingly enough, ironically, although we're relaxing, there's a little tightening. But the tightening isn't a tension. It's an engagement. You'll hear me say this quite a bit. To relax is not to collapse. To relax is to engage. So we'll start feeling this area now more engaged. We're going to take another little key, a little approach, and we're going to find the center. The belly button's a good place, but we want to go a little bit below the belly button, the center of gravity, and we're going to move from that center of gravity. We're going to do the same movement, but instead of the initiation being more external, it's going to be internal, coming from the inside. So we're going to do that again, exactly the same movement, except it's initiated around this central axis. Opening up, but this time I'm moving around that center as I do this. And it has a whole other feeling. This is going to be critical later on, that we learn how to move from the inside out. And that's when the transformation takes place, not from the outside in. Again, just feel that engagement. Put your mind into this. I'm opening up. Remember, the lower ribs and the pelvis are moving apart. That's what we want here. Again, I'm opening up the side here. Coming down. Now the back is opening. As I come around the side, the other side is opening. You can really feel that. Probably find yourself a lot tighter on one side than the other, and of course then you can just move the other way. Remember, we're just moving from the center of our body here. Perhaps it's just one point that we're moving around, but it's definitely in the center of our body. But we're engaging the yao, this waist area. Lower ribs, we're really distinguishing between the lower ribs and the pelvis. Because later on we want to have that distance. We want to make sure that that's very stretchy. So what we're doing here, of course, is as we're doing it more internally, we're moving more from the organs, more from the inner body, more from the space. And again, we're opening up the tissues. And that's really critical that we open up those tissues so that we can create that space. So it's almost like we kind of wound up like a ball in some of these places, and then we're just opening it. I want you to get the idea, kind of almost opening up like a flower. The tissues open up, and as they open up, we get more stretchy. But we're not stretchy, bendy stretchy. Stretchy in terms of elastic, this feeling, this yawn. The final one I want to do today, we'll do more perhaps in the next session, but is the neck. So again, with the neck, we don't want to have our head forward, otherwise we're going to hurt ourselves. We want to have that neck kind of stretched at the back here a little bit, and as much as possible on top of our shoulders. We don't want it forward, we want it back here. And one way that I like to find my center of my head, so my head is resting very nicely on my atlas, is to locate the back of my soft palate and just find it there. As soon as I kind of put my awareness in the back of my soft palate, my head starts to automatically adjust. And I want to nod from that place. So I want to be nodding from here. That's my skull resting on the top of my spine. And as I do that, there's this slight stretch here. We're not overdoing it, and we certainly don't want to be all stiff, but we want to at least have that feeling. And we'll talk more in other sessions about the head being suspended from above, a very important key in Tai Chi Chuan and in Qigong as well. So once our head is in the correct position, all we're doing is just moving it to the left and then moving it to the right. Now, as with everything else, there's two ways of doing it, right? I can just do it. I'm not engaged, I'm just moving it. So this is good, right? I mean, if you want to loosen up your neck, this is good. Nothing wrong with this. It's just not Tai Chi Chuan. It's not Qigong. It's really, that is the huge difference. That's why you can get a ballet dancer, can learn the choreography of Tai Chi Chuan, and it will look beautiful. You go, oh my God, it's absolutely gorgeous. But it's not Tai Chi Chuan. It's not moving in the way that we're going to be talking about. And that's really the big difference. So what we want to do is now bring our energy all into our neck. Bring our awareness and our mind. Soak it into this whole area, the front of the throat, this sternoclavicle mastoid, something like that. These muscles here. Maybe it's these muscles down here, but we're just soaking in this tissue, the soft tissue here. We have our awareness in that. and now we move, and it's completely different. We're engaged. It's a connection and a kind of a stretchiness, but it's the opening of the tissues. Now, ironically, it may actually create more resistance. So you may say, well, I can do it much further when I just let go. And that's fine, but that's not what we're doing. We want to keep that engagement. Keep that engagement. Become very pleasurable actually as you just keep that awareness there and feel, even when I'm moving to the center here where there's not a lot of resistance, there's none at all in fact, but I'm still keeping that. It's almost that yawn is now going to the other side, and I'm keeping that connection through my whole body. Now as we do this, the idea here is as you stretch the neck, it's not that we're isolating the neck. We're actually, as we're moving the neck, and you may feel this, you may feel your whole body actually, even from your feet, start to engage, so that we're not moving from our feet, but actually it's impossible once we really are connected to not move our whole body, because the whole fascial network is a connected network. It's a network, it's all together. One part moves, everything moves. So we're just moving that, and you may start to feel it through your body. Not immediately, don't be in a hurry here, but as you practice this, you'll feel it. Now that's a very, very useful neck mobility exercise and very helpful as well. Now when we do this rolling, you may feel that your whole body is moving. Now we're not doing this, we're not doing waves, we're just moving our shoulders, but when again, as you move your shoulders mindfully, you're connecting with your whole body, and you can feel that. You'll feel yourself kind of move away from your feet and then feel your feet, so that you're feeling like almost like this, you're feeling a wave-like motion through your body without actually making it happen. It's just happening. So we've looked at the shoulders, we've looked at opening the waist, which is, as you can see, as I'm a bit further away here, as I'm moving the waist, it looks like I'm just doing a hip movement, right? Looks like I'm doing this, but actually I'm not. It's just that my hips are moving as a result of me moving or opening up my waist. We did the shoulders, the waist, and the neck. And in the next session, we'll do the spine. But I'd like you to practice this, again, with the idea, don't have to go too fast, that you're soaking in awareness into various parts of your body. And feel free to experiment as well. I mean, if you've got knee pains or anything, just to bring your mind into your knee and just start to move it with this idea of engagement. Don't hurt yourself, be very gentle, be very slow. It could also be done with the wrists, the elbows, any part of your body. Next one we're going to do is the spine, and we'll do that in our next session. But for now, just please practice these. I'm sure you'll get a tremendous amount of benefit. It's energizing, and it's relaxing, and it's healthy. Just take your time, go slowly. We're on a long journey here. I like to say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So one step at a time. Bei Rish Bei Shan.